Hey everyone, my name is Crystal Abrams, Krystal, last name Abrams, Abrams. I work with Beyond Toxics as the Pollinator Projects and Social Media Manager. And I want to say hi and welcome everybody to the Rally for Water and Wildlife. We had a really great rally and march around the Capitol today, and I am beyond excited that you all joined us here today and traveled from faraway places in Oregon. We had people from Rockaway Beach, Ashland, Medford, Florence, Coos Bay, Portland. People came from every corner of the state to stand up for water and wildlife at the Capitol today, so thank you. We're very pleased to let you know that this rally was organized by no less than 18 organizations and nonprofit groups. Because when it comes to clean water and wildlife, we will work together to demand stronger environmental leadership at our Capitol. We need leaders who will protect our bees, not chemical companies. We need leaders who will stand up for rural Oregonians' right to clean drinking water. We need leaders who will listen to their constituents and protect Oregon's forests, where our drinking water comes from and where our wildlife can thrive. So without further ado, I'd like to start introducing you all to some of the great speakers we have here today. First up to the podium, we have Frances Etherington from Cascadia Wildlands. Frances is a longtime forest and water advocate. She works in the belly of the clear-cutting machine in Douglas County. And she is the reason the fight to save the Elliott State Forest is known across the whole nation. She has fought the Jordan Cove LNG project. She's even gone to Washington, D.C. to participate in a hunger strike to fight this terrible project. She's also the winner of Oregon Wildlands Warrior Award in 2016, so let's hear it for Frances Etherington. Thanks, Frances.
Thank you. My name is Frances Etherington, Francisetherington. I spoke today about the new stream buffer rules that the Oregon Department of Forestry is considering on our streams. Since 2002, they have known these stream buffers have been bad, and they haven't fixed them yet. We were even penalized last year for a delay in fixing them. We were penalized $1.2 million by NOAA for polluting our coastal streams. And the Oregon Department of Forestry is just dragging their feet. They've made a proposal on fixing the stream buffers. Their Ripstream study proved that the buffers that they require industrial forest clear cutters to use to protect streams from pollution and to protect the fish and clean water, the Ripstream study proved that they were inadequate. They only required 20 feet of trees to be left next to these fish-bearing streams. And their study found that this removed so much shade, the streams heated up and killed the fish. So now, after this was found 6 years ago, they concluded their study. They're still thinking about how to make it better. They've come up with some proposals. And the proposal, of course, that the timber industry likes best is the one that does not increase the 20-foot no-cut buffer along streams. They're proposing to keep it a 20-foot no-cut buffer, which is so inadequate. They will require some extra trees behind it, but not enough to provide anywhere near what science says is necessary to protect the streams from heating up and to keep them from clean from logging debris washing into them, from landslides from washing into them. So the Oregon Department of Forestry has not protected me as a landowner adjacent to these timber companies. They really are protecting the timber companies. You all heard about the study that the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality did, and they found that the oil from all the herbicide aerial spraying and all the contamination of the streams was actually harming the drinking water supply of our coastal citizens. And they did not publish that report because the Oregon Department of Forestry thought it would hurt the timber industry. That is really outrageous that they are working for the timber industry and not for me. I live adjacent to industrial forest land, and I have to live with the herbicide spraying that they do. After it was clear cut next to my house, they sprayed right over us for 5 years, sometimes twice a year. And the chemicals they use, like atrazine, are really nasty chemicals. Atrazine is banned in all of Europe. It's banned in most places in the United States, yet the Oregon Department of Forestry allows it to be sprayed with impunity right in my watershed. You know, they only have to leave a 60-foot buffer next to houses, and they only started that last year. Up until last year, it was 0 feet that they required next to homes. So I'm here today to stand up for clean water, clean drinking water, and to stop the aerial spraying of herbicides and to stop such nasty clear cuts that cause landslides into our drinking water. Does Mitty have any questions?
I'll get up and introduce her.
Oh, and don't hit the podium with your hand. Good. Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Francis. Coming up to the stage now, allow me to introduce one of Oregon's most awesome wildlife advocates. Kate Taylor not only runs a fishing guide company from Tillamook that gets people out angling in Oregon's rivers, but she also takes people all over the world to look for incredible fish in pristine waters. She educates people about watersheds at every opportunity she gets, and she's on the board of directors for Pacific Rivers, as well as being a founding member of the Rockaway Beach Citizens for Watershed Protection. Also a Patagonia ambassador, Kate never misses a chance to fight for water and wildlife. Kate Taylor, would you come up and thank you.
Hello. Thanks so much to everybody for coming out to the rally. It was a pretty incredible turnout and exciting to be with so many people that are advocating for water and wildlife. Thanks so much to all the nonprofits that put this together and are working so hard on behalf of all of us. My name is Kate Taylor. I live in Rockaway Beach on the Oregon coast. I'm a Patagonia brand fly fishing ambassador, and I serve on the board of Pacific Rivers. I'm a member of Rockaway Beach Citizens for Watershed Protection, a citizens group formed to try to protect our drinking water source. My partner Justin and I run a fly fishing outfitter company based on the coast and in Alaska as well. I spend my days on rivers. The last 3 months I've been rowing my drift boat in the rain with 2 guests, all of us searching for wild steelhead. Most of these guests have traveled from all over the country to experience this beautiful, wonderful place that we call home. Without fail, whether we are driving or floating the streams of Tillamook and Clatsop County, my guests ask me about the rampant clear cuts that dominate our hillsides. Embarrassed and ashamed, I have to speak the truth. Oregon allows private timber companies to nuke watersheds completely. My livelihood and our fisheries depend heavily on healthy, clean water and good habitat. So it's not just how awful these clear cuts look when you're driving down Highway 26 or 101 along the coast, or when I'm floating all of these rivers. In many cases, private timber companies are putting people's health and drinking water in jeopardy. Such is the case in our tiny community of Rockaway Beach. The private timber companies Stimson and Olympic Resource Management completely annihilated the watershed where we get our drinking water from, Jetty Creek. In less than 10 years, they've harvested over 80% of the trees around this small creek. Over 80%. It looks like a bomb went off in the watershed. But really, it's visually a complete lack of social responsibility. And let me tell you why. After they cut down all the trees, including every single tree protecting the tributaries flowing into Jetty Creek, they replant a single species of tree. Then they fly helicopters and spray a cocktail of toxic chemicals over the entire area. The craziest part is this is totally legal under the current Oregon Forest Practices Act. And this act is in dire need of reform. We don't get to know it's happening unless you look and see helicopters flying around your homes. They're spraying a mixture of known carcinogens and pesticides outlawed in other countries in the same origin where my community gets its drinking water. And we have no way to protect the watershed, ourselves, or each other. Because Oregon favors timber companies as a resource user over any other user group. How is this happening in Oregon today? And why is protecting water and the rights of people to access good, clean water not a bipartisan issue? How can anyone vote against that, and how much do the timber companies and chemical companies pay for a vote to turn your back on clean water and rural communities? As I participate in these events and speak out about what is happening on the Oregon coast, I am continually frustrated by the lack of action in the Capitol to protect the health of communities and prioritize people over profits. Private timber companies should not have the right to destroy watersheds at the expense of people's health. It's time for Oregon to stop pretending it's so green and start actually being green. The health of our communities, fisheries, and wildlife depend on it. Thank you.
My name is Lisa R Cannell, Lisa Arkin, and I'm the Executive Director of Beyond Toxics, and I'm just going to make some closing statements. Today we had the Rally for Wildlife and Water at the state capitol. It was co-sponsored by more than 18 different environmental conservation and environmental justice groups throughout our state. We had about 300 people attending, speaking up for the need to protect the water we drink in our state and the wildlife that makes Oregon a very special place. It's important that people came out today to talk to our legislators, to state their cause, because we know at the federal level, our U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is being dismantled, budgets slashed, and scientists silenced from speaking out about what they know to be true about the need for environmental protections. Oregon should no longer try to rest its laurels on our beverage recycling bill or our land use laws. Innovative, true that they are, but we can do much more. In terms of water quality protections, better practices to extract timber, protecting our pollinators. Other states have surpassed where Oregon is. Washington, Idaho, Alaska, Arizona, California, all have stepped up to create more protective guidelines, policies, and regulations for our forests, for our waters, and for our wildlife. Oregon, too, needs to step up to the plate and make us proud again to be an environmental leader. That is why we held the Rally for Wildlife and Water today, and we will be back at the Capitol continually to make sure that the voice of the Oregon people is heard in our legislature. Thank you.